Greetings, magnificent souls, to the Attract Health, Build Wealth podcast, where we have open and honest discussions about ourselves. This is a place where we break down, break away, and break through codependency, allowing ourselves to attract health, build wealth, and live a peaceful life. We are tired of being sick and tired. We are tired, but we are not giving up. We know that there is something magnificent inside of us, and because we are fighting daily, hourly, and by the minute, fighting ourselves, our kids, our spouses, we have to do things differently. We have to break the cycle. We don't have a million chances. We have to be happy now. We have to find a way. So how do we do that? How is that possible? If you look around at what society is telling you, they tell you that what we're doing is impossible. Yet it's happening every single day. And it's happening through the practice and the love that we call awakening the magnificent soul. We are all magnificent souls, and these are our stories of healing. Today, in episode 52, I wanted to dive into a listener by the name of Howard's entry into the Epiphany Vault. We talk about all of the work that he's been doing so far and about letting go of the shame that he has towards his mom. But before we get into the discussion, don't forget to let me know your thoughts about this episode, any feedback you have, or anything you'd like me to cover on future podcasts at epiphanyvault.com. Remember, it is a safe place, and I would welcome the discussion. Also, one announcement before we get started in the podcast is that if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen that I've opened up the wait list for someone who is ready to go through transformational change through my Codependent to Connected 101 coaching program. This program is essential if you're at a place in your life where you know you need help and you want to have healthy relationships with yourself and with others, and you want to do this in a trusting and safe environment. My mission is to help you get there. I will post the link in the show notes to the wait list for the next round of openings, and then we will get on a complimentary discovery call where we'll go over where you are and the glorious transformation that's awaiting you and any other questions that you have. So if you're looking for a sign, this may be it. Moving on to the Epiphany Vault. Like I said, a wonderful, magnificent soul by the name of Howard wrote in, and he's allowing me to share his story today. So here it goes. And here Howard writes, I have been working on myself for a good few years now, and for the most part, I have overcome so much. 20 years of depression being the biggest thing to conquer, and for that I am proud and kicking the tablets that left me so numb. More recently, having gotten myself to a good place after my divorce 5 years ago, I started dating again, only to find that all the pain that I had felt within my marriage resurfaced each time I got close to someone. I purchased a book, Conquering Shame and Codependency by Darlene Lancer, and I think I finally understand that I am a codependent. And I attract people that want a codependent in their lives. Acknowledging this in itself feels like a huge weight has just been lifted off my shoulders. It explains so much why most of my life I have felt empty, devoid of any passion or love for anything other than my beautiful daughter. However, I am starting to see myself in her, and that hurts me so much. I have spent my entire life, from others' points of view, as a self-centered person, only caring for myself, which is furthest from the truth. I care deeply, but I had no idea how to show it without getting hurt in the process. Whenever someone gets close to me, I shut them out at the first sign I am not being approved of. I feel so much shame when I am not approved of by someone I care about. I feel so much shame for feeling the feelings I do when someone admonishes me, and I feel a failure as a parent now that I see these traits appearing in my daughter. For the most part, it barely affects me if it is someone I don't know, but a work colleague, friend, or lover, well, they may as well stab me in the heart. So today I vow to myself that I will work through this and I will heal. Now that I can see where all of the feelings I experienced stem from, a childhood devoid of love and nurture. I stumbled across the Attract Health, Build Wealth podcast and was pleased to find somewhere I feel safe to share these feelings. For in the wrong hands, I will feel more shame. My first question is, where do I start in letting go of the shame I feel towards my mom, who I almost entirely blame for not giving the nurturing love that a parent should give their child? I accept that she had her own upbringing that shaped her and forgive her for that. But why do I still feel shame still whenever I am in her presence? And why do I feel shame because I do not wish to see her much or communicate with her? She is not the type that can be changed, so confrontation of my feelings with her would lead me to more shame. Thank you for being part of my journey. Howard, thank you for writing in. I'm so honored that you found the show and that you've resonated with it and that you feel enough trust to write in. And I know that takes a lot, so thank you for allowing me to show up for you. I also want to acknowledge and congratulate you for the work that you've done thus far. I know how much dedication it takes to get where you are. I know how eye-opening and freeing it can be as well. So I want to sit in joy with you for a moment for bringing your darkness to the light. I'm proud of you, and I hope that you're proud of yourself for finally claiming your worth after years of not being able to. This is amazing, amazing, amazing work. It sounds to me, Howard, like you are on the verge of another transformational change, and I want to tell you that this is normal. There's only so much work that we can do by ourselves. It is major healing work that you have already done. I do not want to discount that whatsoever. But what I've found is that people do tend to hit a wall when they're on their own, and that's including me. Before I dive into your question, I do want to state my usual disclaimer is that this podcast is a sole expression of my experiences and does not replace any medical or therapeutic professional advice. If you, Howard, or anyone listening out there thinks that you would benefit from a medical or therapeutic professional, please set yourself up with an appointment. I also wanted to set the stage for the podcast today because thematically, I think it's a great segue in general of what I see happening a lot lately with recovery from codependency. There are a ton of resources at our disposal. Like you mentioned your book, Howard, there are books, free resources online, and the internet is just full of just goodness, just great, a lot of content. And you could spend decades and decades and so much time on all of these free materials out there, which is also amazing, and it's something to be thankful for. The unfortunate thing about recovery, though, is that it is lonely. It's lonely in general, and it's lonely in just a virtual world. But it's lonely because recovery is a deep look, or it should be a deep look inside yourself. And for the longest time, you have been avoiding just that. You, Howard, me, and during my recovery, and others listening out there. So I just want you to know that I empathize with that feeling. I know it's there. But we want to get to a place where we are okay being alone and with ourselves. And in so doing, we will be able to invite and continue healthy relationships in our lives. To be human is to be connected. The right connection is to be loved deeply by yourself and others. And Howard, before I get into your specific questions, I want to tell you that the hardest work that I've had to do personally with my clients and again with myself is this next transformational step that I feel like you're on the verge on or verge of, which is those questions that you're asking. The step is a deeper look into yourself. You've done an amazing job pointing out your codependent patterns and behaviors. You've put it together that these have stemmed from your life in childhood where trauma and adverse childhood experiences contributed to who you are today. And this is the work, and that's awesome. Like when you mentioned that the pain in your marriage kept resurfacing each time you got close to someone. I've loved that you have recognized that pattern. Now, we have to figure out why in your body, your mind, your soul, why you're unconsciously resisting that connection or unconsciously attracting those types of people that allow that to happen and prosper when that happens. It's not something that I can do here on the podcast, but it is something I want to point out, that is the next level deep, and it's actually the deepest work that you'll probably ever do. That's the transformational work that'll open up your life to manifestation, abundance, and clear possibilities. So that's the next step. When you clear that block and learn to work through that block when it comes up, that is the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself. And onto your core question, which is, where do I start in letting go of the shame I feel towards my mom, whom I almost entirely blame for not giving the nurturing love that a parent should give their child. I accept that she had her own upbringing that shaped her and forgive her for that, but why do I still feel shame still when I'm in her presence? Why do I feel shame because I do not wish to see her much or communicate with her? She's not the type that can be changed, so confrontation of my feelings would lead me to more shame. Let's just say, Howard, I know the type you speak of. I'm sure people listening out there know the type you speak of as well, and I have clients that know that too. And it sounds like you just have a family member who may not be completely accepting of your journey to health. Does that resonate with you? Does that sound about right? When you're around these family members, it is awkward. It's fused with negativity. I want to first point out that I encourage you, when you go through these experiences, to be very patient with yourself. In fact, I would try to keep patience top of mind. Why? Because when you're around these family members, you feel triggered. It's like the old you just pops up out of nowhere, and you feel bad about it. Not only is it discouraging and shameful, but you feel continuously more and more bad about it because you feel like that you have let that person go, the old you. So I would suggest doing as best you can, figure out ways to meditate or breathe to bring forth patience for yourself, not for her, as best you can. But more importantly, after you leave her presence, be very aware of the conversation that you are having with yourself in your head. Those negative thoughts and feelings are not your fault. The thing that you have to realize about the new you, Howard, is that you no longer need other people's love to make you feel whole and complete. Your love is enough. Yes, the right love and the right connection is welcome in your life. So you have to ask yourself, what is right for you? And that's not a question that I can answer for you. My suggestion would be to start a journaling practice. I don't know if you do this already, but this will be a transformational outlet forever. That will not only allow you to let go of some of the baggage, but it will allow you to connect to the universe or whatever you believe in, to your own true self and desires. You ask where you can start letting go of the shame you feel towards your mom. Howard, what if I told you that you could just let it go right now? Let it go like a leaf in the wind. You might say to me, hey, it's not that easy, but I tell you that it is. What if it was that easy? To get there, to get to that place takes work, but it is possible. Those familiar patterns that are very hard to break that we're talking about are broken by the little choices that you make. In fact, something that you wrote made me think that you might have already answered this question for yourself. It seems as if you already know that being around her is unhealthy for you. And as we said, that's an amazing start. Journaling on this may be helpful as well, because if I had to guess, there's a part inside of you that is kind of perpetuating that shame. We have to find that part, and we have to make friends with it, and we have to tell it it's okay. And I hope that makes some sense today, Howard. Thank you again so much for writing in. Much love out there, living and loving.